That is one type of welding. This here is like straight pad. They call this padding. It's like a pad, like you're making something to pad for your arm or your elbow or a pad or something like that. This is what they do in the welding process. Over here, a similar thing. They got these V grooves they're making and all that. So they test all these. This is all the stuff that they test. All right. So when you get an idea of what they're doing here, like they're welding these pipes together like that, and that's like a huge pipe that you would make something big, like putting a building together. They would weld all that together. All right, let's go on over into the weld booth here. We'll give you an idea of what we do over here. So this is one kind of welder here. This is called a wire welder. This wire welder takes this wire off of this spool, feeds it all the way through this cable right through there, and then over to the two pieces you're going to weld together. It actually welds them right together. So it's not like an arc welding. So over here I'm going to show you an arc welding process.
Hey, I think I've seen that machine and that machine in my welding.
Ah, that's good. Okay, so over here is what we call an arc welder. This arc welder is a little bit different. This one uses a different, instead of it being long and one big long wire, it uses one rod. And let's use this pencil for an example. We would put this in there like so. Let's pretend this is all steel, but it's not. You would actually put this against the metal and it would make an arc and then it would start welding. And when it gets done and burns down to that size, it's all done. You have to start over with a new piece. So now the wire welder is a little bit different. It's continuous. You can keep welding around the world in a sense, okay? So we're going to show you some things that we cut with too. Let's come on out here and I'll bring the pencil with us. So over here is what we call a torch. This has got gases that we use to light up. Now this has got oxygen in this one, just like the air we have in the air, but it's compressed. And this has gas in here. It's like a propane or acetylene it's called. So when we take this torch and we light this torch up, you can actually cut metal with it. So when we go over here to set the torch up, we cut the material. You can cut the steel with it by being really hot and sparks flying all that. Have you ever seen that before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's good. We're on to something then. We're on to something. So there's a little different things. There's cutting with a torch, with gas and all that. There's wire welding, and then there's also arc welding. And then you can do that with like aluminum, like you talked about copper. You said cast iron, all that. You can do that with all those different types of material. And this little thing over here, this is kind of cool. What's that look like there? What do you see?
I see that's a deer, and those are some trees, and then some grass right there, and then that's a cut down tree that it runs on.
Okay, so you familiar with a computer?
What?
You can run a computer pretty good, can't you? Okay, so this was all cut by using a computer program. And then this little tip right here is the torch that cuts it out, similar to what we talked about there. But that little tip right there cuts this all out, just like that. And it was actually a flat piece before they started. So you can go to the computer and design something up on the computer, and then you can send it to this machine over here, and it'll actually cut all that out of there. Does that make sense? Now I'm going to show you another one over here. This one, you might recognize what this is. I don't know, you like to go fishing at all?
Yup.
Okay, what do you got? That's a pretty good sized bass there, isn't it? That's pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a bass or something.
Yes, and actually this resorts to a walleye too. You know what a walleye is, don't you? Those are the ones that are out in Lake Erie pretty good. There's a walleye also. So these are the kind of things that you can do with the metal.
I caught one that size.
Oh, really? That's good stuff there. Now, I'll show you, this is the tip to that, where it burns it out. The actual, the arc goes through that little tip right there, and that's what it's used to cut this out, like so.
Wow, it's really little.
Yeah, it is. And what do you think that's made out of? What's it look like? You already said it earlier.
Copper.
You got it. You're catching on to this. Okay.
Because I saw a whole bunch of copper websites of stuff that was made in Ireland. Well, actually, that was the first state that made it, Ireland.
So you've been checking this out then? So I'm
think
probably going to have
it
to pass on your name, Allante, to Mr. Zorn, so that when you get up in high school, you'll be like one of his assistants, you know what I'm saying? Anything else you want to see?
You have any other questions,
Yeah, you got
Allante?
any questions?
Oh, yeah, well, they was talking about, like, well, in this book, it taught about, there was this, it was, like, this certain tool, and it was, like, some safety gloves or something that you had to wear, and I wanted to see.
So you want to know what those are? Okay, we're going to give you a little tour of that now. Inside the crib, there are some stuff, but we're going to go over to this booth over here, and we're going to show you some of these things. So when you go to put when you go to weld, what do you think you got to put on for protective gear so you don't get hurt? Yeah, this is helmet. Let's put that on. Let's show Mr. Plitzy what that looks like when you got that on there.
Let me see. There you go.
In fact, I think this is about your size.
That looks just about his size.
I think we could try that. Let's put this on here first.
Put it
Here,
on.
let me hold on to that a minute. You put that on. Let's see if we can't. Go ahead and run your arm in there. Oh, there you got it. Now run the other side like that. Now, I think this is we're setting up pretty good here. Now we can put the helmet on you there. So you put that on your head there, and let me see if there's any gloves here too.
Allante, let me see. Allante. There you go.
The gloves are in the crib in there, but it looks like to me like we can't even get any
That's a
gloves
perfect
on you.
fit.
I think it's a perfect shot
Yeah.
there, Mr. Plitz.
That's a perfect fit right there, buddy.
We've got to go in there.
You're ready to go
So,
weld something
Can
up.
you see anything?
Yep, I
Yeah,
can see
no.
Mr. Polizzi's legs and his shoes.
Oh,
Okay, now here's the trick. When you take this and you or take the welder and arc it against the metal, this shield right here gets darker. It instantly gets darker so that you can actually see the weld without blinding your eyes. So it's an electronic helmet. So when it sees the flash, it actually makes it darker so you can see the light. So you can actually look at the sun.
is that a heavy coat you got there,
Yeah,
Allante?
is that pretty heavy?
No,
No?
it's not heavy at all to me.
Does it feel like a coat that you've ever worn before, or is that a different material?
Yes, I have one of these gray and black shirts.
Oh,
I mean,
You know what this one's made out of? This one's made out of leather. Real thick leather so that the sparks don't go through, and also it doesn't burn your arms from like sunburn. Because actually you can get sunburn from the welding flash.
Wait.
Oh, wow.
It was. Wait, isn't leather like made from animals?
You got it. You're catching on to this, aren't you? Pretty sharp. I think
He
you're a
is
lot
a
sharper
smart
than what
kid.
you're leading on to be there. Mr.
yeah.
So any other questions you've got while we're here?
Oh, yeah. Can you show me the gloves?
Yeah, let's. Well, you got your jacket on. Let's see if we can't find you a pair of gloves. I think we can do that.
Now, do you shovel the snow with these gloves, Mr. Smith?
No, these are actually gloves that you would only use for welding.
Oh, okay.
And
Like,
We'll do
you
it.
wouldn't use them for gardening or anything like that?
we'll put a pair on you here. How about that?
There we
ahead
go.
and, there they are. Go ahead and put those on and see if those fit all right. One at a time.
It fits kind of a little,
There you go.
but the jacket's blocking.
Now, do you think you can tie your shoe with those on? Well, you don't have any shoe ties, so that wouldn't help
He's
very
got
good, would
sandals
it?
on.
But those are kind of hard to maneuver with, aren't they? Now, you notice how thick they are?
Uh-huh.
The reason why they're so thick is because when you're welding, all that heat is right
This
next to
is
your
made out
hands.
of animal skin too.
Yeah, so you're catching on to this. You're pretty sharp with this. Yes.
So, Allante, what's your plan for going public for your project? What
I'm
are you
not
gonna?
be there for that.
You're not?
I'm supposed to leave. It might be until the end of the school year.
Uh-huh.
It might not. But I'm supposed to leave Tuesday, tomorrow.
So, I mean, have you prepared anything, or are you going to talk to people about what you've learned? Because it sounds like you know a lot about welding.
Well, I have 20 sticky notes written down
Great,
Wow.
of facts about welding.
I'm
fantastic.
impressed.
Well, I tell you what, I've learned a lot about welding from you. What were those? What were those 5 things that you mentioned before? Those metals that you mentioned before?
What 5? No, the metals was the 5 things.
Yeah. What are they? What did?
It was copper, cast iron, steel, metal steel, and copper.
And those are things
And
that
also
people weld.
steel. Yup.
That's fantastic. What do you think, Mr. Smith?
I think he's onto something here.
I really do. I
we got a
think
future welder on our hands here.
I see a future student right here for you.
That's for sure.
Well, Allante, what do you say to Mr. Smith?
Thank you.
Well, how about put her there? See how that hand? Oh, there's a hand in there. That's great.
All right.